Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, today I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story of my hero. I love the sciences and it's something that I've brought my kids up into. Two of them are studying sciences at university right now. So I wanted to speak with you about that. But first, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share and click the bell notification. So I love the sciences, I love physics, I love biology, but it really is down to one person. So let me tell you the story of a little boy who grew up in South Carolina in the 1950s, and this boy's name was Ronald. This boy was a special boy right from the beginning, African-American boy. Grew up, of course, underprivileged, but he had something that all the other boys and girls didn't have, and that was a brain. He had this insatiable appetite to learn. Even when he was 6 or 7 years old, this kid would read through books and books and books. And at one point, when he was 9 years old, he got sick of reading through the same books over and over again. So what he did was he went to the nearest public library. This library was an all-white library, so Negroes weren't allowed in there. He didn't care. A 9-year-old boy, he waltzed inside of that library. Of course, everyone was looking at him, looking down at him. You know, what's this boy? Hey, boy, what are you doing here, boy? So he was getting all of that from the people who were patroning the library. He was in there. He got his books. He got the books that he wanted. Can you imagine this little boy? Because he was short anyway. He's carrying his books, strolling to the desk to check these a pile of books out, and they were all to do with the sciences. And he's put them on the counter. He said, I would like to check out these books. And of course, there was a Karen-esque lady at the counter, and she looked at him and said, boy, you cannot use this library. You're not supposed to be here. And he said, I want to check out these books. I will take care of them. I promise you. So she's turned around in a very Karen-esque type manner and said, okay, listen, if you don't leave the library, I'm going to have to call the police. So that's what he did. That's what she did. She called the library. He said, no, I'm not going to leave this library without my books. Like that. You want to call the police? Go ahead. And he's propped himself up. You got to imagine, this kid is small. He's small. He's 9 years old, but he's really short anyway. He's put his books on the counter, jumped up and sat there waiting for the police to come. Eventually the police finally arrive and they call Ronald's mother. They call his mother, and his mother, of course, is afraid. She's scared. She's petrified. What's going on? What's going on? And she runs down to the library as quick as possible to see what's going on. So his mother rushes in. The police explain to her what is going on. The library attendant, of course, explains that as a Negro boy, he is not allowed to use the library's services. Ronald's mother actually speaks to the attendant and says, listen, please let the boy have the books, okay? We will make sure that he brings back those books in good condition and in time. It will not be a problem. I will make sure that he has this, that he will do this. The woman behind the counter still insists that he is not allowed to use the library services. Eventually, one of the two white police officers who are standing there listening turns around and speaks to the woman and says, listen, why don't you just let the boy have the books? Just let him have it, okay? So we can get about our business and you can get about your business. He said that he promised that they were going to bring the books back on time and in good condition. Very reluctantly, this woman behind the counter signs these books out to Ronald. And Ronald gets to take these science books home with him, with his mother. And of course, his mother explains to him that he should never do that again. Ronald grew up, of course. He excelled in education, he excelled in the sciences, and became valedictorian of his high school in 1967. At 21 years old, he received his engineering degree. He received it magna cum laude, which was rather impressive, as he graduated from university early. He then received his first PhD from MIT in physics and engineering. Then Ronald received his second doctorate, or should I call him by his full name now? Professor Ronald McNair. He then went on to receive another, I can't even believe this. He went on to receive another 4 doctorates from UCLA. Yep, 5. You would have thought this guy would have stopped at his first one. I mean, he picked it up from MIT. It's not like that ain't something to boast about, right? That's something. There are people out here who are walking around with their noses high in the sky, arrogant, with just 1 doctorate from some funky community college. And here we have this man, humble to the core, with 5 doctorates in his back pocket. Ronald eventually joined NASA and became the 3rd ever person of African descent to ever go to space. He flew on his first space shuttle mission back in 1984. He was a mission specialist on there and returned safely. Something which really moved me. Really, it always brings me to tears, this story. The part there where he's talking about standing there, you know, his upbringing, what he had to fight for, and then getting to this point where he's in space and he's floating over the Atlantic Ocean. He's floating over the place where his forefathers were shackled like animals, put under the ship in the cargo hold. And he looked at his badge. He looked at his badge. He has the American flag on his badge, but he knew what had sent him there. He knew it wasn't the American flag. He knew it was the spirits of his ancestors that were with him. And for me, that... Oh, damn, I knew this was gonna happen. Every time I hear that, I start crying. I swear to God. This is like the 3rd take of this. Because I just keep welling up and I have to stop. So I'm really sorry about this. Mission specialist and commander, Professor Ronald McNair, was on his space shuttle mission, his 2nd one, when this happened.
And payload specialist, Greg Jarvis. All members of the 51L crew. Followed by mission specialist Judy Resnick, Ron McNair, and pilot.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, and start, 4, 3, 2, liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Control program. Roger, roll, Challenger. We'll throttle down to 65%. Short 3 engines running normally, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good APUs. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles, downrange distance 3 nautical miles. Altitude 9 nautical miles, downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
The crew capsule was ejected when the spacecraft exploded, and it sent the entire crew, which was the largest crew ever to be on a space shuttle mission, it sent them away from the spacecraft. So he didn't die in a ball of flames. And when it pushed him away, it knocked all of the crew unconscious. There were 2 members that were still awake when the capsule hit the water, but he wasn't one of them. And that sort of, I don't know, it gives me some peace to know that he died in peace. I know it may sound like a bit of a cliche, but this guy literally went from strength to strength, and he went from being this little beautiful black boy with a huge afro whose insatiable appetite for learning outdid his fear for the repercussions of going to a whites-only library in South Carolina. The library that he went to when he was 9 years old that denied him those books, that library, Lake City Library, was renamed after him. It's now called the McNair Life History Center, and it was renamed in his honor. Ronald McNair is a person that personifies what it means to be African American. Okay, that is, when I think about African Americans, that's what I think about. Okay, I don't think about the funky people who you see now over there in the Gambia. Okay, and neither should the continental Africans. They shouldn't look at these people and say, this is the way African Americans are, because it's not. It's not even the norm. So when I see these guys who are exporting this repugnant version of what it means to be an African American, it gets my goat, it gets me angry. Okay, this is why I go after them. It's part of the reason why I go after these people, because I know they do not personify what it means to be an African American. If you think that these people are the embodiment of what it means to be an African American and deserve to be defended, then Jesus. The people over in the Gambia do not embody what it means to be an African American. So all you people out there who think, right, that I'm going after African Americans because I have some sort of grudge against them, bollocks, okay? I don't. And that's simple as that. The Ronald McNairs of this world are the norm. That is the personification of an African American. And let me tell you the reason why. Because he's not the only one. The African American ethnicity has this propensity for pushing out, like a conveyor belt, these great black people that just push through the barriers that were put there in front of them to stop them from being great. Against all odds, they make it to the top. They achieve things, multitudes of things, in which just one of those things, we, us mortal humans, would see as an achievement, and we'd carry it around with us, probably put a medal on our wall or something. There are people who are incredible human beings, of all different races, colours and sizes, and every ethnicity, every race, every nationality, we all have our pieces of as well. Yeah, we all have one. And so I don't look at nationalities, I don't look at races. I try to look past that certainly when I'm doing what I'm doing now, but in general in life, it's how I've managed to get by. I am extremely selective with who I spend my time with. and it's worked up to now. I don't look at McNair, Professor Ronald McNair, and say, oh, that's a great ADOS, foundational American of African descent. You know, I don't look at him and say that. I don't put him in a box, because I know this man would never have been wanted to be put in a box. Not with his upbringing, no way. Not a chance. You know, this man was too educated, too smart to be that way. I'm certainly not going to try and claim him, but he belongs to all of us, and I think that he should inspire all people of African descent. Let's unify and let's celebrate him together. Let's teach our kids about him as well. Come on. We should be at least acknowledging this man's achievements and teaching our children, giving them people like him as a reference for how great they can be. So guys, did you know about that story? Did you know about Professor Ronald McNair? Do you have anybody who inspires you the way he inspired me? Do you have anybody like that? Please put it in the comment section below. It would be really good to hear from you. I really hope that he knows how much of an inspiration he has been to me and to so many others. Be your own intrepid explorer. Live your life with intensity. No fear. Be your own Ronald McNair.